The Bourne Identity, the Vatican, and Disneyland are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is June 14th, 2021. It is the 165th day of the year. We got 200 days left. God, it's flying by. I guess it's because 2020 went so frickin' slow. Oh my God. Today is the 24th Monday of this year, and it's in the 25th week. It is the 87th day of spring. We got 1 week left until summer. If today's your birthday, you are a Gemini, but you probably already know that. Today is Flag Day. It's also World Blood Donor Day and National Bourbon Day, but we're gonna stick with Flag Day. National Flag Day is when Americans celebrate the meaning of their nation's flag, honor the tradition associated with its care, and educate those around them to its significance. The flag of the United States is to be honored and carries with it the history and tradition. Now, when I was in the Army, they give you this big speech on the flag, and it's when you hear it from a soldier and why the flag is important, you know, when I got it from my drill sergeant or whatever, it's a little emotional. It's kind of weird. It's very strange. All right, let's see what else June 14th has given us. 1907, the National Association of Women's Suffrage succeeds in getting Norwegian women the right to vote in parliamentary elections. I'm still just baffled sometimes that, why would we think women shouldn't vote? I have a different mindset. I'm, generations later, but just the fact that they had that mentality that women shouldn't be able to vote. They don't make rash decisions or something. It's just weird. 1940, 728 Polish political prisoners become the first inmates of Auschwitz concentration camp. 1954, U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower signs a bill into law that places the words "under God" into the United States Pledge of Allegiance. 1959, Disneyland's monorail system becomes the first daily operating monorail system in the Western Hemisphere. It opened to the public on this day in 1959 in Anaheim, California, not too far from where I grew up. I loved the monorail as a kid. I don't know why. It wasn't exciting, wasn't terribly, fast or anything like that. It was just really, really cool. When I was a kid, we were kind of under the impression that these would be all over the place before long. But nope, we got other type train systems. 1962, the European Space Research Organization is established in Paris, later becoming the European Space Agency. 1966, the Vatican announces the abolishment of the Index Librorum Prohibitorum. Basically, it's the index of prohibited books, which originally was instituted in 1557. This whole thing is nuts. I've never understood how you could prohibit books. Banning books from the people, to me, again, this is, in today's mindset. Back then, it was a lot different, but it's just always seemed weird to me that you would ban certain books. I mean, here in the United States, we've had book burnings back in the 50s and all kinds of weird stuff, and it usually is centered around some form of religion that bans these books. That's most of the time. A couple times it's been like local jurisdictions or whatever. But back in 1557, this was enacted, and by a lot of people, it was described as the turning point for the freedom of inquiry in the Catholic world. Meaning they didn't want you to learn anything that was outside of the Catholic Church's point of view. The Catholic Church way back then was really big into just get your information from us and we'll tell you how to live your life type thing. Any outside influences were severely frowned upon. And this is just a fine example of it. Now, I went to Catholic school for 10 years, and you think I would have been able to pronounce that Latin word in the beginning a little bit better, but no, didn't get that much Latin when I was there. I was more interested in the girls. So yeah, I was one of those guys, which is sort of a prime example of maybe they should have prohibited me from reading some things. I don't know. But this was just this really weird time in the Catholic Church. And what baffles me is they kept it going. It was still on the books, basically, till 1966. Over the years, they had different versions of this, but the 20th version is the one that was actually abolished, and that was from 1917 to 1966. This 20th edition contained 4,000 titles censored for various reasons: heresy, moral deficiency, sexual explicitness, the list goes on. Now, some atheists, such as Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, were not included because nobody bothered to denounce them. They fit all the criteria that should have got them on the list, but they just weren't there. Along with some other ones too. That's just two good examples. Catholic Church back in the day was very big into bending their rules for their own benefit. 1967, the Mariner program. Mariner 5 is launched towards Venus. Mariner 5 flew by Venus on October 19th of 1967. They lost contact with it on December 4th, briefly regaining it in October of 1968 for some reason, and then it was never heard from again. It is now defunct and in a heliocentric orbit, meaning it's still out there, just sitting there. 1986, the looping roller coaster Mindbender derails and kills 3 riders at Fantasyland, which is now known as Galaxyland. It's an indoor amusement park in Edmonton, Alberta. 1994, the 1994 Vancouver Stanley Cup riots occur after the New York Rangers win the Stanley Cup from the Vancouver Canucks. They did it again in 2011, and that riot produced my favorite news photo of all time. This is it. This couple were in the fray. They weren't really, part of the riot. They were just kind of watching, and she had fallen down as the police were kind of ushering everyone away, and that's his girlfriend, so he went back to help her, and someone snapped this picture of them kissing. The police had been on top of them and kind of pushed them and kicked them a couple times, which the police disputed. And then someone came out with video from an apartment above the incident and showed the police did that. They kicked and pushed them a little bit with their shields while they're on the ground, and then they moved on. And as they had moved on, that's when the picture from ground level was taken. It's just a great picture. It's this beautiful moment in all this chaos. 2002, near-Earth asteroid 2002 MN misses the Earth by 75,000 miles, about 1/3 the distance between the Earth and the Moon. I am still amazed that no major asteroid has hit us since, the dinosaur days or whatever. We've had some, but nothing big. 2018, Volkswagen is fined 1 billion euros over its emissions scandal. So big investigation was done when rumors about this happened, and the agency that was investigating it found out that Volkswagen had intentionally programmed turbocharged direct injection, or TDI, diesel engines to activate their emission controls only during laboratory emission testing. Yeah, so it wasn't just for their own testing to get it. If you went in there and hooked up this machine for testing, it would click it on and the emissions would come out, better than they actually were in normal driving. A total scam. A lot of people lost their jobs and a lot of people got big fines for this, besides Volkswagen itself. Movies released on June 14th, one of my favorite series of all time. 2002, The Bourne Identity. Basically, a man with amnesia finds out he has the ability to perform a vast amount of skills, like a secret agent type stuff. He must learn who he is with assassins on his tail. And if you've never read the books or seen the movie, I would suggest either one. They're great. The movies were great. The books were, good too. This is one of the only series I've ever read and watched the movies where I actually like the movies a little bit better than the books. The books were good, don't get me wrong. Movies were great though. Born on June 14th, 1928, Ernesto Che Guevara. Argentine-Cuban physician, author, guerrilla leader, and politician. He died in 1967. I read a book on him and watched a couple documentaries, and I just got the vibe that this guy, they said he was a rebel leader and all this other stuff, and he's a politician. I just think he was a guy that liked to be involved in conflicts. Honestly, because he left Cuba, he helped Castro, and then he went to some other places trying to overthrow governments and start guerrilla wars, and he was just weird, and he became this cult figure here in the United States with people that wanted to buck the system. Yeah, I just think he liked being in war. That's my opinion. Died on June 14th, 2016, we lost Anne Morgan Gilbert. She was an American actress and singer. She is best known for her role as Millie Helper in 61 episodes of the 1960s sitcom The Dick Van Dyke Show. She died at the age of 87. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Have a great week. Be nice to each other.